Natalie Holloway in the interview recently given by Joran Vandersloot, the 18-year-old from Aruba who was imprisoned on suspicion of Natalie's murder for 3 months, as everybody in the world knows, before being released to travel to his native Holland. Tonight, Natalie's mom, Beth, joins us. Is your mic giving you trouble?
A little bit, Geraldo.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
You play with it. I'll ask a question there.
All right.
There, it's great. There you go. So, generally speaking, what do you think of the interview?
Well, Geraldo, it's just as usual. I mean, every time Joran tells a lie, just more evolve. And it's just typical of what has been going on since the beginning of the investigation.
All right. Now, first, I want to play different bites from him, because I was outraged by the interview, also outraged by Joran, not the interview, the fact of the interview. But the first one I want to play is that Joran basically suggests that because Natalie was a so-called one-night stand, he has very little recollection of your daughter whatsoever, so he feigns a kind of ignorance. Here's Joran Vandersloot on the current affair.
I don't really have that many memories. I mean, I knew her for one night. I feel horrible that I even went out that night without my father knowing. I should have just stayed home and this wouldn't have happened to me. It would have happened to another person. I just tried to look at it that I was at the wrong place at the wrong time, maybe even with the wrong people. And I just hope that the truth comes out, that there's comes some clarity in this case.
But do you understand, I mean, how can a girl just disappear?
I don't know. I think that's the million-dollar question now.
The million-dollar question. So he's suggesting that if it wasn't him, it would have been somebody else that she was with, really, that it's part of the slutification of your daughter.
Oh, you know, Geraldo, he's lying there. Just again, I mean, he's saying that he never had sex with her. And yes, he did. In the statements, he specifically states that he had sex with my daughter at his home as she's coming in and out of consciousness. He also admits the sexual assault that he committed against Natalie while she's coming in and out of consciousness. I mean, you know, that is just simply not true.
And your reaction to the fact that he was never charged with rape?
Oh, I'm outraged. And I just can't imagine that rape is not a crime within Dutch law. It has to be.
Okay. And now he suggests in this next bite that I'd like to play for you that Natalie was a loose woman, and if Joran didn't step up to the plate, it would have been some other guy at the bar that night. Here's Joran.
How do you leave a girl on the beach?
Very irresponsible. I know, and that's the one thing I would like to take back. But at the time, it just didn't seem wrong.
And then what happened? You just said, oh, I've got to go home and study. I've got to go home because I got to get up for class tomorrow.
I told her I had to go home. I had school the next day, and I thought maybe she'd understand. She told me no, she wanted me to stay there with her because the next day she was leaving, and she wanted to stay there the whole night. I told her no, I had to go. I even lifted her up to carry her back to her hotel, and she told me put her down. I left her there. I sat down next to her, talked to her a while. And I called Deepak to ask him if he could come pick me up, which Deepak didn't do, but...
Was she angry?
She wasn't angry. If it's anything, she was probably more, I don't know, upset that I was leaving her there, and I don't know what reaction she had. I don't know.
How did you feel when you left her?
Well, at the time, I didn't feel it was a bad idea. At the time, I really didn't. It didn't seem wrong. It didn't seem. Of course, now I look back at it and I think I'm an ass. What did I do? But there's nothing I can do about it now. If I'd have that moment back, I would have made sure she got back to her hotel safely. But I can't change that now.
You certainly can't change that now. But the story now, the police statements you've read.
Yes.
He took her back to his home.
Yes.
So this sex, when she's phasing in and out of consciousness, according to the police statements, happened in the Vandersloot home.
Yes.
Not on the beach.
Joran gives a statement specifically stating that he has sex with my daughter at his home.
Okay, so is this all out of whole cloth, this whole baloney story about her on the beach and all the rest of it?
You know, Geraldo, I don't know. And the only thing we can think is, you know, maybe after they'd had this gang rape against my daughter at his home, then maybe they did leave her at the beach. You know, we don't know where they last left Natalie.
Okay, if you can stand it, I'll play one more soundbite from Vandersloot. Okay, here's the final bite.
It was Natalie who asked me to go out with her. It was her that asked me to come to the club. It was her that was yelling at me to go dance with her, and I said, and I went to go drink something with my friends. And it was her that wanted to come with us. I mean, I don't understand it myself.
All right, so it's all Natalie's fault. It's blaming the victims.
It's all Natalie's fault.
So how do you bear it?
Gosh, Geraldo, it's just, every day it gets harder while I'm here in the U.S. I become angrier every day. I mean, I just have clarity and think back on what has happened to us during this investigation and how it's been such an injustice for Natalie. It's just horrific.
So here you have a young man who admits essentially in police statements to raping your daughter because it's rape, whether she was consenting or not. If she's passing out, she can't legally give consent. I don't care what jurisdiction you're in, it is impossible. So absent consent, it is a sexual assault of some degree. I don't know exactly what. And yet he now is scot-free. He's not even officially under suspicion anymore. What recourse, if any, do you have at this stage, ma'am?
Geraldo, I met day before yesterday with an international attorney, and, I certainly hope that there are options that we can pursue. We don't know everything yet, and we're getting together a plan, and we're going to see if we can move forward, because this is not the end, Geraldo.
Well, are you suggesting, Beth, that you might go to some forum other than an Aruban court? Would you go to some international tribunal? Or are you suggesting that you will bring a civil action against the parents of Vandersloot and the 18-year-old himself that will hurt them at least by, slowing down his kind of free slide into freedom?
Well, Geraldo, we're just looking at all options. We really are. And within the next 2 weeks, we'll have a plan together, and we will move forward.
When you first saw him on TV, your reaction?
Oh, I was just so angry, Geraldo. I was so
angry. Were you
angry.
Yelling at the screen?
Oh, it just makes me sick. It just makes me sick how everything is Natalie's fault. From her drinking, to how she behaved, to her being left on the beach. I mean, everything was initiated by Natalie. It's just...
Is it all, Mom, a pack of lies?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely from Ron. That's all he can do. That's all he can do. It's amazing.
Do you feel he should have been interviewed, or do you think he's better left ignored, or should he be harassed? Should he continue to be a public figure?
Oh, let him open his mouth. Every time he does, he incriminates himself. More lies evolve.
Okay, I'd like you to stand by. I want to do the bulletin about the 4-year-old who is lost and wandering in one of the boroughs of New York, Valerie. And then I want to bring out the producer who did interview Joran Vandersloot to give us more context about what happened, okay?
Okay.
All right, first I'll take a commercial break. Please stand by. I'll be right back.
An important message to all CNA insurance policyholders. If your business is affected by Hurricanes Katrina or Rita and you can't reach your agent directly, call the CNA Catastrophe Operations Center at 877-CNA-ASAP.
Today, Robin Williams is back.
Ta-da!
Get out of my room!
I'm not in your room.
I am now. No, I'm not. I am not.
Oh, dear. Robots on DVD today.
Who wants to get fixed?
BMW's xDrive all-wheel drive system reacts in milliseconds for maximum traction, no matter what the road throws at you. Beyond all-wheel drive is xDrive, available on all 3 Series and 5 Series. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
There are sports drinks that help you to fly, to soar, to defy gravity. But who's there to help when you hit the ground? To promote healthy knees and joints, one company wanted to make a drinkable dietary supplement. They turned to Cargill, where scientists created a good-tasting liquid form of key ingredients, resulting in a solution for healthy joints that's easy to swallow. This is how Cargill works with customers.
Life doesn't stand still, and neither do we. That's why families trust Lowe's for installation. Not because we give you your very own project management teams to guide you and help you throughout the entire process, which we do, or because our installers are certified and fully insured, or because Lowe's guarantees you'll be satisfied with our installation service on everything we install. You see, at Lowe's, improving home improvement never ends.
Now get all over-the-range microwaves installed for just $59.
Sunday, a brutal enemy, protected by our president, allowed to build a deadly war arsenal, making the skies over Vietnam the most dangerous in the world. Now, hear exclusive stories of perilous covert missions and heroism undercover in Operation Rolling Thunder.
I'm Oliver North. I'll see you on the next War Stories.
Fox News Channel's acclaimed series, War Stories with Oliver North, is now available on videotape. Call now, 1-800-933-0760.
This is a Fox News alert. A New York man has been charged with choking to death his live-in girlfriend. The mother of the sweet 4-year-old girl found last week wandering the streets of the city barefoot. Reporter Andre Hepkins is in Queens tonight with the latest on little Valerie and the man who allegedly killed her mom. Here is Andre's report.
It's Saturday, and NYPD cops are still looking for 26-year-old Monica Lozada, 1 week after anyone took a look at the Bolivian-born mother of this little beauty.
He took me in the car, and he took me outside with no shoes. So I was crying.
Earlier this week, strangers found Valerie alone, barefoot, cold, and afraid. Valerie's poor little face has captured the hearts of people across the country, and now her legal custody belongs to the New York City Administration for Children's Services.
If, secondly, you know of or you yourself are in any way caught up in a domestic violence situation, get help now.
The ACS commissioner held a news conference outside of his Queens home the same day cops put Cesar Ascaruns in handcuffs. Ascaruns allegedly confessed to the killing, claiming self-defense, and that his 105-pound girlfriend attacked him with a knife, so he defended himself by choking her to death. Then he dumped the body. But a family friend told me tonight he doesn't believe Ascaruns is capable of such a callous crime.
He's a quiet kid, he's a nice son, he's a nice person. I don't understand.
Ascaruns was charged with murder, reckless endangerment, endangering the welfare of a child, and evidence tampering. That's for dumping the body. And now child welfare authorities are focusing on finding relatives of little Valerie. No one has heard from the biological father at this point, and so far, a female cousin on the mother's side has come forward asking about that precious little girl. In the Woodhaven section of Queens, I'm Andre Hepkins. Geraldo, back to you.
Andre, thank you very much. Criminal defense attorney and Fox News legal analyst Mercedes Cowan joins me now here in our studio. So Mercedes, first of all, is there any chance on earth that a self-defense tact will fly with the jury with this big hulking guy and this little tiny lady?
Not at all, especially because the story just doesn't fit. I mean, certainly if you're involved in that type of altercation, the first thing you'll do is call the authorities and say, look, we had this altercation and this had happened and I tried to defend myself. Not, oh, I killed her, let me store her body for a couple of days, let me dump her in a garbage bag, and by the way, I'm going to go abandon the child. I mean, it doesn't match up, and certainly when you're talking to authorities initially, tell them, not start with a story by saying, well, I dropped her off at JFK so she can fly off to Bolivia. All of these lies add up to a cover-up.
What happens to the kid?
Well, certainly the parent, if the parent, non-custodial parent comes forward, which is the father in Bolivia comes forward, he will have custody of the child. If he doesn't, then it'll start the family members that are here, and ultimately it's going to be what's in the best interest of the child. And that may be the thousands of phone calls of individuals have called forward who want to adopt her. I mean, she's beautiful, she's sweet,
precocious,
smart.
Bilingual.
Exactly. So
she was also well cared for by her mom.
Which is why another thing, a lot of people said she couldn't possibly have been abandoned by her mother initially when they first found her.
Yeah, right. I totally agree with that. What about the fact that the mom's body has not and may never be found?
He's already admitted to the crime, although of course the defense attorney may come forward and say it was coerced,
sure.
Exactly,
sure.
and get it tossed out. And were the Miranda rights read to him? Do you understand that he had right to counsel? I mean, all of these things may come into play, and maybe that confession may never come in. So there are a lot of steps, but it doesn't add up. They heard the sounds. There was some sort of altercation. There are individuals that are come forward. So circumstantially, I think a case will come forward.
Me too. And hopefully someone takes care of that little angel. Thank you, Mercedes.
Thank you.
Oh, coming up, Beth and the producer who did the Joran Vandersloot interview talk to each other. And the indictment of the Republican House Majority Leader, Tom DeLay, by the Democratic DA of Travis County in Austin, Texas. Is it just hardball politics, or is the powerful congressman in real trouble? After this.
Introducing new Smart Balance Microwave Popcorn, the world's first to help improve cholesterol, with no hydrogenated oil and no trans fatty acids. Smart Balance Microwave Popcorn, the great tasting popcorn that's actually good for you.
paper. We print it,
copy it,
process it, and turn it into more paper.
Very complicated.
Lexmark has smarter ways to print, move, and manage information. See how at lexmark.com.
When you're a star like me, you just get treated differently.
Key to the minibar?
Ooh. They miniaturize an entire bar just for me.
Turn down service?
Fantastic. Somehow they know I like to sleep between the sheets. Even my independent insurance agent spoils me.
John, for you, the best policy is drive insurance from Progressive. I compared a lot of them.
You see, he treats me like the Sultan of Umpapa.
Actually, I do it for everyone.
Of course you do.
To find an agent who'll take care of you, go to driveinsurance.com.
If you're looking for an entertaining, fun, and positive TV show, you've got to check out PD Exposed. Join Heather Frelia and myself, John Olson, as we continue to expose the people, places, and events that make the Northwest the place to be. We've got some great things in store for you this year, so you'll definitely want to tune in every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at 7 p.m. on CNW 14. For up-to-date information or to contact us, visit pdexposed.com. Chances are, if it's happening in your town, it's happening on PD Exposed.
Right now, Oregon kids are becoming better readers thanks to the efforts of the Portland New Car Dealers Association. Through their partnership with Operation Outreach, your local new car dealers help get books to kids who don't have books at home. Teachers are getting supplemental training materials, and Oregon kids are getting a chance to succeed and excel. Feels good to know our kids benefit from the generous support of the Metro Portland New Car Dealers, Operation Outreach, and Comcast Cable, making a difference for Oregon's kids.
At TNC Dodge, it's the full line closeout. Why buy at TNC Dodge? Here are 5 reasons. 1, every Dodge is on sale. 2, the largest inventory of 05s in the Portland Metro. 3, employee pricing plus, and you get the rebates. 4, rebates and bonus cash as high as $4,500. 5, you get free lifetime tires. Take advantage of employee pricing plus and lifetime tires while it lasts. We are Town and Country Dodge in Wilsonville. Drive home happy.
We have loads of puppies just looking for a home.
We've got a safe with your name on it.
Come on down to Bill's Kayak Shop for the adventure.
If you can afford radio advertising, you can afford cable TV. Comcast Spotlight can make it happen. And with Comcast Spotlight, you can target the customers you want to reach. So why settle for
Manja
when you can have?
Put your business on the fast track. Call Comcast Spotlight to find out more about advertising on cable.
I'm back with Beth Twitty, Natalie Holloway's mom, and also joining us, Jerry Wagshall, the producer who got Joran Vandersloot to talk. Before I talk to the producer, can I ask you were you mad at them for getting that interview with Joran?
No, absolutely not. And I think it just shows the world what we've been dealing with since June 1st.
Meaning what?
The lies, his attitude, just the twist in this investigation. I think this Joran just put a signature on it for all of us.
He's a lying dog. Jerry Wagshall, tell us how. I don't really care how you got the interview. Tell me the context of it. What else was going on? Was his dad around? Did you just ambush him in the street? Did you just say goodbye and shake hands afterwards and walk your separate directions? What happened?
Pretty much the first part of it was tracking him down, which was pretty difficult because, as you probably know, Vandersloot is a very common name in the Netherlands. So first thing I had to do was track him down, and once I identified what school he was going to, then pretty much I figured calling his attorney would be a complete waste of time. The only way to really do this was to, confront him with a camera. And I had to wait until he was actually on campus, and he was basically walking in between 2 buildings that were on campus. And I approached him with the camera at that time. He didn't really have anywhere that he could run to. He
didn't try to run though, did he?
No, he didn't. And I said to him, you're a pretty tall guy. I know you're athletic. I'm sure you could run. I'm glad I didn't have to chase you. And that's how actually we started the interview when I started talking to him about that.
What happened afterwards? Did his dad show up?
Well, his dad used to come and pick him up and drop him off from school every day. So basically, yes, he did show up. He saw us on the street interviewing him, and he saw us doing this interview. And at the end, basically what happened is that he came up to me and also a guy from the school, and they basically told me, hey, you know, you should really come inside to this building to discuss the interview. And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think I feel like going inside any buildings to discuss the interview. And I tried to get the crew to leave, and they didn't want to leave. And it seemed as if they wanted to do something with the tape, and I really wanted the crew to get out of there. And then basically, I tried to take the Betacam camera away, and then Joran grabbed my arm and actually tried to stop me from doing that. I didn't feel like I was nervous or scared of him or anything, but I felt it was kind of a little bizarre that he actually kind of stuck his hand on my hand and kind of grabbed it, and I kind of felt slightly different towards him after that happened.
Meaning what? Quick.
Well, meaning just like, that's a very kind of, you know, it's a very kind of bizarre thing to do, grab like a producer's arm. Like, what else is going inside that guy's mind that we don't know about?
Good question. Jerry Waxhaw, good job. Get Twitty, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're not over with this. More to come. Stand by. I'll be right back.
Introducing the 300 horsepower Acura RL. With voice-activated technology and super handling all-wheel drive, power can be shifted front to rear, side to side, and while cornering, the outside rear wheel is accelerated for dramatically improved handling in all weather conditions. The all-new Acura RL.
You've been seeing someone else, haven't you?
No.
Come on, I can see it in your smile. Your teeth are so white.
Dr. Stevens, I can explain.
New Crest White Strips Premium Plus uses active oxygen, the same whitener professionals use for professional level whitening results at home.
Hi. Did you just get your teeth whitened?
New Crest White Strips Premium Plus, part of the Crest Dental Plan for healthy, beautiful smiles for life.
This is the Coopers' long-awaited getaway. There's only one problem. This isn't the Coopers. It's the Vaughns who stole their wallet.
My wallet was stolen! Honey, I need another 50s. Hello?
Presenting the American Express Traveler's Check Card. The safety of traveler's checks in a convenient card. It's prepaid. If it's stolen, your balance is replaced in 24 hours. It's your vacation. Why lose it? The Traveler's Check Card from American Express. Order yours now and get a free companion airfare.
Sir, why are we meeting in the shower?
Well, ideas always hit me in my shower at home, and our first store opens next week, so any ideas?
FedEx Kinko's. For signs, banners, printing invitations, even shipping.
Wow, this shower thing really does work.
FedEx Kinko's. Make it, print it, pack it, ship it.
Tonight at 12, he reigned by terror and stands accused of the most heinous crimes against humanity. But will this tyrant be brought to justice?
Once the trial starts, anything can happen.
With eyewitness testimony, unprecedented access, and exclusive interviews, we take you inside one of the biggest trials in history. Plus, what will Saddam's verdict mean for the world's war on terror? Tonight, join host Dan Senor for Fox News Channel's special look at Saddam Hussein on trial.
This is a Fox News alert. According to the Associated Press, suicide bombers, 3 suicide bombers were involved in Saturday's attack in Bali. This obviously represents a severe and dangerous escalation of the terror campaign in Indonesia. When they have people committed enough to blow themselves up, you know you are dealing with a truly fanatical element. So again, 3 suicide bombers, according to the Associated Press, involved in Saturday's bombing in Bali. You know, I usually try to steer clear of politics because so much of it is inside baseball, but the indictment of Tom DeLay for conspiring to launder about $155,000 in corporate contributions outlawed under Texas law is intriguing because it could have far-reaching consequences. Ellis Hannigan and Charles Krauthammer, both excellent and authoritative columnists and Fox News contributors, join us now to discuss, perhaps debate, whether this DeLay indictment for campaign finance law violations is the real deal, just politics as usual. Charles, what do you think?
Well, you know, Geraldo, they say lawyers say that you can get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich. This is a pretty blatant ham sandwich. What you've got here in Ronnie Earl is a prosecutor who's a partisan hack who 12 years ago went after Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison with an indictment around election time that was so flimsy it fell apart at trial, and he had to abandon it. This is a man who's had a film crew following him. Byron York of National Review is reporting he essentially is going to be the hero of a documentary, and for a documentary that makes him a hero, he's got to have a climax, and the climax is going to be the slaying of the Goliath, the Tom DeLay. Look, the Washington Post, which is not a member of the right-wing conspiracy, as I am, had an editorial on...
lay it out there, Charles.
Had an editorial on how flimsy these charges are. It has to do with changing soft money, which is corporate money, into soft money, which is sort of the employ of half the campaign lawyers in Washington looking for loopholes. It's implying, and it requires that the prosecutors show that DeLay was knowingly involved in this conspiracy, that he knew it was a felony, and that in fact it was a felony. I think all three of those hurdles are extremely high. I think the chances of success in the prosecution are extremely low. However, the indictment is a political event, and as a political event, it's devastating. DeLay is knocked off his perch, and I think that chances are that no matter what happens, he's not going to return to it.
Yeah, the gerrymandering that underlay DeLay's activities seems to me more serious, although I guess it's not criminal, but this money, soft money, hard money, isn't it really just what everybody does?
Oh, and they're all completely intertwined, and it's hard to choose, Geraldo, which is more outrageous.
But is Charles correct?
It's fascinated me, honestly, in the last couple of days, how much of the response from Charles and of Tom DeLay's supporters has been not to talk about the details of the charges, not to talk about the way this scheme worked, where they took that corporate money and laundered it up through the Republican Committee in Washington, then sent it straight back to Texas, but to smear this prosecutor. I mean, to dump all this stuff on him, none of which holds up there. 12 of the public officials, as you know, that he's brought charges against in the past have been Democrats, not Republicans. The charge, frankly, just pretty much falls apart on its own weight.
So you think it's an ad hominem attack, what, to distract attention from what DeLay did?
Well, sure, you'd much rather attack the accuser. Now you've got DeLay out there, right? The tough, rough guy in Washington, whining like every Geraldo that you and I have ever covered. Oh, the prosecutor's unfair, he's being mean to me, the charges aren't right. Well, you know what? Let's put it to the jury. Let's let the case go forward. And maybe Charles is right. I mean, maybe he'll get off and he'll walk scot-free, but I ain't betting on it.
And Charles, what you are betting is that he's not going to be the same Tom DeLay no matter what happens.
Well, because it was a political charge and it has a political effect, DeLay is knocked out of the leadership. By the time he reclaims his reputation, such as it is, remember Ray Donovan, the member of the cabinet, the Reagan administration,
yeah, Secretary of Labor,
indicted, kind of ruined, indicted on page 1.
Where do I go to get my reputation back?
Exactly. Indicted on page 1, put it on page 18. People understand that if you hit a guy with an indictment, it can be fatal, even if nothing happens afterwards. And that may happen right now.
And a lot of politicians break the law and also go to jail from time to time. This is a big fish. It ain't over yet.
It's a big fish for sure. Thank you both. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow night.
Tonight on Heartland, a Muslim imam due to be made chaplain of the New York City Fire Department is yanked after saying he doubted that the 9/11 hijackers were responsible for toppling the World Trade Center. That's unbelievable. Ashley Smith, the angel that got Atlanta shooter Brian Nichols to give himself up, joins us live with her story. And are Hollywood Christians afraid to come out? Straight talk, straight ahead, straight from the Heartland, right now. This is a Fox News alert. Bombs rocked the Indonesian island of Bali. At least 2 bombs exploded almost simultaneously in areas frequented by tourists, killing at least 22 and wounding 51 others. Reportedly among the wounded, at least 2 Americans. Since September 11th, there have been many American civilians who've been injured or killed in terror attacks across the globe, in London, in Egypt, in Indonesia. Joining us now to discuss this trend, terror analyst and author of American Jihad, The Terrorists Living Among Us, my old pal Steve Emerson, and Irshad Manji, author of The Trouble with Islam Today. Welcome. Steve Emerson, are we safe to travel in many of the parts of the world where we see these Muslim extremists, places like Bali?
Well, not as safe as we used to be. I think that 4 years after 9/11, John, the Al-Qaeda franchise operations are reconstituting themselves, and Bali was a clear replay of what happened 2 years ago. There are lots of warnings. The Australian government 2 months ago issued a particular warning about Bali itself. Indonesian government, I don't think, was very aggressive here in really trying to root out the Islamic extremist groups, and that's why they were able to carry out this attack with virtual impunity.
You know, Steve, they say at the root of a lot of this is really anger and hatred towards the United States. We gave almost $1 billion, not just from the heartland, but all across America, to victims of that tsunami. It seems like whatever we do doesn't seem to rally people to our side. Am I wrong about that?
No, look, I think there's a rampant anti-Americanism, anti-Westernism, anti-Semitism, anti-Christian dogma that almost dominates parts of the institutionalized leadership of certain parts of the Muslim world. And no matter what we do, whether Karen Hughes runs over there and begs forgiveness or tries to be nice, or whether we put ads in the papers, or whether we give $1 billion of aid in tsunami, it's not going to make a difference. It is a fundamental cultural problem because they hate us, and it's imbued with them from day one. Nothing we do can change it. We have to recognize it in the same way the imam that you were going to talk about in a minute from New York claimed that the 9/11 wasn't carried out by anybody who was connected to bin Laden.
Okay, we're gonna talk about this radical ideology, and frankly, folks, it's right here on American soil. I don't want to miss any of this. New York City Fire Department was just about to swear in a Muslim imam as a chaplain, and they found out, this is what he said in an interview the day before the ceremony. Of the 9/11 attacks, he said, I, as an individual, don't know who did the attacks. There are so many conflicting reports about it. I don't believe it was 19 hijackers who did those attacks. The imam stepped down from his position, but I mean, this is just absolutely amazing and very, very troubling. So, how many people with radical beliefs are infiltrating our prisons, our military, and other institutions? Irshad, I mean, this is beyond my understanding. Now, they say that the Fire Department of New York Islamic Society recommended this guy. How can you recommend somebody who says, I don't think the 19 guys knocked the building down? There was a conspiracy somewhere. How do things get this screwed up?
Well, let me first say this, John, that there are many younger, reform-minded Muslims who are calling for more to be done. But the reality is that not enough is being done. I mean, why, for example, did it take the July 7th London bombings for the American Muslim establishment to finally issue a fatwa against terrorism? This happened after the first Bali bombing. This happened after Beslan, Russia, where powerless children were actually hijacked and held hostage. This happened after Madrid, after Moscow, after Istanbul, which is itself a Muslim city. So the reality is that, the rhetoric of the American Muslim establishment has not been bridged to that all-important piece, which is action.
Well, why is it? I mean, there's even a report that many in the Muslim world say the reason there was a tsunami, and people go crazy when I say this, is because the United States had an underwater explosion on purpose. It created this tsunami. Why are Muslim leaders, responsible Muslim leaders, not standing up and saying, knock this stuff off?
Well, you just said a key word there, actually, and that word is responsible. And I'm not so sure that much of the American Muslim establishment is all that responsible to itself and to other Muslims. Much of it is steeped in a culture of denial. John, to this day, I still hear arguments like, there is no trouble with Islam today. The trouble is with people like me, or with Western colonialism, or with the Zionists, or with economic deprivation around the world. In other words, everything except religious motivation itself. And the problem with that argument, John, is that this denies what the terrorists themselves are saying. They are saying that they do what they do in the name of religion. So even if religion is being manipulated, which I believe it is, you have to acknowledge, if you're going to be responsible, that religion still plays some kind of a role.
You are a very smart, very articulate woman, and I hope you will be heard. Steve, look, what about in the prisons? I'm hearing in the prisons, they got these radicals in there preaching extremism. You hear about it even in our military. Are these reports accurate? Is this a problem?
Look, there's a fundamental problem insofar as Saudi-run institutions in the United States and the Muslim Brotherhood front groups in the United States have been responsible for and given the responsibility for appointing and vetting the chaplains in the prison system and in the military. So we shouldn't be surprised, and yet the fact of the matter is there are horrific consequences when these chaplains, radical chaplains, go in and make incendiary statements. They are not the genuine moderates that Ershad is, and she has stood up very courageously for which she has been condemned. She shouldn't be condemned. She should be absolutely applauded. Instead, the, quote, Islamic groups in the United States, the mainstream ones, refuse to accept the fact that Wahhabism and radical Islam is prevalent within various institutions here.
Steve, what's
they
the real
themselves are tethered to it.
consequence? Steve, what's the real consequence to this, the preaching of this extremism? What do you worry about?
Well, the first consequence was something we just saw 3 weeks ago in the arrest of several former inmates and current inmates in Folsom Prison in California. They were plotting to blow up U.S. military facilities and synagogues on the High Holy Days. And this was this could have been devastating had it not been interdicted by the local FBI and local law enforcement. And it was a direct result of the recruitment in the prison system and the inability of the state and the federal prison system to acknowledge the problem of what is going on there. We need to get a handle on this, and we're not paying enough attention to it.
Ershad and Steve, you know, go ahead. You get the last word, Ershad. We're about out of time.
Sure. I was just going to say, John, that, you know, Steve talks quite rightly about mainstream so-called, Islamic organizations like CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations. These are the first people to come out and demand sensitivity training whenever a non-Muslim causes offense. Well, I say in this case, let's put this imam through sensitivity training, and better still, John, let's have CARE conduct that sensitivity training in a public session.
Ershad, I want to thank you and Steve. Folks, the consequence here could be something bad happens, an attack in this country. We'll look around and we'll say, could it have been prevented? Coming up, she was the angel that saved Atlanta. Ashley Smith is here to tell us how she survived her 9-hour ordeal with Atlanta shooter Brian Nichols. And later, Kabbalah is all the rage in Hollywood. Where are the Christians? So we're going to tell you. Please come back.
The captioning for this program is brought to you by...
You've never seen anything like this before.
The Icy Hot Sleeve, joint-hugging pain relief that goes on icy to dull the pain, then gets hot to relax it away. The Icy Hot Sleeve.
Jim's best friend died of a heart attack with no warning, and I worried it could happen to Jim. His doctor said you should always have genuine Bear at hand. Just one has enough aspirin to help save your life during a heart attack.
We both feel better when I have my Bear.
Introducing the Total Value Promise.
From the award-winning quality of Buick. I promise.
I promise to stand behind your Buick.
With our 4-year, 50,000-mile new vehicle warranty.
And the serenity of a quiet-tuned interior.
I promise. I promise you the security of OnStar on new 2006 Buick models. It's our Buick Total Value Promise to you.
The 2006 LaCrosse CX. Under $22,600 after all applicable offers. See your Buick dealer today.
I was just getting to the good part when Uncle Ernie dropped his tongs. I'd seen that look before. It was heartburn. Before you could say duck sauce, I was there with my Pepsid Complete. I told him only Pepsid Complete starts to neutralize acid on contact and keeps heartburn from coming back all day or all night. In no time, Uncle Ernie was in Mushu heaven, and I had my eye on the spicy dumpling. Pepsid Complete, just one and heartburn's done.
He's a computer science professor from Iowa. He's slightly distracted. And this is Take On Orbit, the game that pits other travel services against Orbitz.com.
Today's contestants need a hotel in Hawaii for under $100 with a golf course. Ready? Go.
Hotel reservations?
Yes.
Done.
Orbitz makes it easy to find the right hotel at a great price.
Log on to OrbitZgames.com for your chance to be a daily winner of free travel. Visit OrbitZgames.com today.
Good evening.
evening, everyone. I'm Carol Iavana. One person is dead following an explosion just yards from a crowded football stadium at the University of Oklahoma. Police say they believe they're dealing with a suicide. Another explosive device was found nearby, but that was safely detonated. The blast occurred during the Sooners-Kansas State game. Cops say no one inside was in danger, adding the stadium area was checked before and after the blast. Firefighters in Southern California say it feels like they're fighting a war. They're battling several wildfires that have devoured thousands of acres, but they're making progress. The Burbank fire has burned more than 1,100 acres. It's now about 30% contained. Northwest of L.A., firefighters are battling flames which have charred about 24,000 acres. That fire is about 60% contained. Iran's president is reportedly denying he ever threatened to cut back oil sales if his nation is brought before the UN Security Council over its nuclear program. Earlier today, an Arab newspaper reported the threat. According to the Associated Press, however, the Iranian leader says he never spoke to the paper. The Minutemen are back patrolling the U.S.-Mexico border. This time, they're in Texas. Meantime, dozens of their supporters rallied in Austin for stronger immigration laws. Dozens more were there to protest the Minutemen. They believe the group promotes racism. The Minuteman Project began volunteer patrols in Arizona last spring. Scientists who say they discovered the solar system's 10th planet say it isn't orbiting alone. They say it has a moon. The astronomers announced the sighting of the planet in July. The moon discovery is important because it can help scientists determine the new planet's mass. The planet's discovery was announced in July. It's believed to be larger than Pluto. Another update for you at the bottom of the hour. Heartland with John Kasich continues right now here on Fox News Channel.
This is a Fox News alert. A New York man has been arrested for the murder of Monica Lozada, who's the 4-year-old daughter who was found wandering alone on a street in Queens earlier this week. Rebecca Gomez has the latest from the newsroom. Rebecca?
Hi, John. The mystery surrounding the little girl found wandering the streets of New York and the whereabouts of her mother has been resolved tragically. Law enforcement sources confirming to Fox News the woman's boyfriend confessed to choking her to death. The woman's 4-year-old daughter was found barefoot and alone in the wee hours of the morning about a week ago. Little Valerie said her mom's boyfriend, who is not her biological father, woke her up, put her in the car, then left her on the street.
I got lost, and when I was sleeping, he took me in the car, and he took me outside with no shoes. So I was crying.
Authorities have charged the boyfriend, 32-year-old Cesar Ascarans, with murder. He reportedly told police the couple had a fight, that Monica lunged at him with the knife, and that he put her in a chokehold until she went limp. Sources also tell Fox News that Ascarans told police he kept Monica's body in their bedroom for 2 days while he went to work as usual, then put her body in a trash bag and left it in a pile of garbage on a street corner in Queens. As for what will happen to little Valerie now that she's lost her mother, New York City's Child Services says one of her mother's cousins has contacted them and that a meeting is being set up. In the meantime, the agency is also trying to find any relatives in her native Bolivia. John?
Thanks, Rebecca. By the way, folks, that little girl was found wandering the streets in the middle of the night, and she captured all of New York's attention. Just a beautiful little girl. We say our prayers for her. Now we switch gears and turn to the world of politics. This week, Texas Congressman Tom DeLay stepped down as House Majority Leader after he and 2 other men were indicted for illegal campaign finance activities. The president's poll numbers rose slightly after his high-profile handling of Hurricane Rita, and John Roberts was sworn in as the Supreme Court Chief Justice. So how does all this affect the rest of us? Joining us to discuss it, my old colleague, former Louisiana Congressman Bob Livingston, and Fox News political analyst, ran for Vice President Geraldine Ferraro. Bob, how does this DeLay indictment, it's just going to throw the House into disarray, isn't it? What's going to unfold here?
I don't think it's going to be too much, John. The fact is that Tom was a great leader, and he is succeeded by Roy Blunt, who will be an equally great leader. But Tom was a very, very effective member of Congress, and for that reason, I think that you have to look at this indictment as being somewhat of a political vendetta. I'm getting some feedback in my ear. The fact is, Ronnie Earl, who is the prosecutor down there in Texas, has indicted a number of people, including Kay Bailey Hutchinson and former Attorney General of Texas Jim Maddox and others, and dropped the charges before they ever went anywhere. And I expect that that's going to be the same thing. If you look at this indictment, Tom DeLay, frankly, hasn't done anything illegal, and it will be vindicated shortly. But in the meantime, the Republican majority will crank along. Remember, we have red states and blue states from the last election. There are very few blue states. The country hasn't changed. The agenda is basically the same. And we've had a lot of tough things like Katrina and Rita and other things, the war in Iraq, but the agenda is going to remain the same.
All right, Geraldine, your take on this. You know, Bob is painting a good picture. I know there is confusion inside the Republican conference. You know, a lot of people trying to elbow each other to the top. Tell us what you think the impact is for these 2006 elections. Is this going to play in?
Well, I do, and I also think, John, that it's for us to wait and see what happens as to whether or not this is actually a political indictment against Tom DeLay. As you know, 15 people have been prosecuted, 15 politicians by the Attorney General Earl from Texas, and out of the 15, 12 of them have been Democrats. I think he knew well ahead of time that when he brought this indictment that he would be charged with bringing a political indictment, and he went ahead anyway because he believes that Tom DeLay has committed a crime. Now, what will happen is Tom DeLay will have, his lawyers will have an opportunity to go to the court and say to the judge, take a look at these grand jury minutes, and if there is no crime, reasonable cause to believe a crime has been committed, the indictment will be dismissed and nothing will be affected by this whole thing into the future and for the 2006 elections. However, it can take a little while before the judge acts on that, and if indeed the judge says, yeah, there's sufficient cause to believe a crime has been committed, then this could be dragged on, and it could be very detrimental.
Outside of the obvious, why does anybody care? I mean, why should anybody care about this?
About what?
About DeLay being indicted and all the, you know, the mudslinging in Washington. What difference does it make?
You know what? I tell you, it just feeds into everything, John, and I was not there with you when you were there, but of course I served with Bob. And, you know, people have a very, very bad view of politicians to begin with. And when you see something like this happening, it just feeds into everything else. I mean, now you've seen what's happened with Katrina, and people are saying, get after that transportation bill. It's loaded with pork. What are these members of Congress doing? It just adds to the whole concept that the people in Congress are not serving them well. Which, when people get angry, and they're angry over the response of the White House to Katrina, they're angry over the amount of money that's going to be spent.
They could bring about some real change.
Absolutely. 2006 could see a Democratic majority in the House and Senate.
Bob, new court, what's this court fight going to be about? Why does it matter who we put on the Supreme Court? The people in Louisiana, people in Ohio. Why does it matter?
Well, going back to the red state, blue state thing, I think the people in the red states, the people who voted Republican for George Bush 2 times, really expect him to put a conservative on the bench. And, of course, the liberal bastion has controlled the bench for the most part in the Supreme Court for the last 30 or 40 years, and they see a possibility that they might lose control here. They're going to fight like heck. And I think it means a lot for the way we construct the laws of this country in the future. We're either going to invent laws like the liberals have done, or we're going to interpret the Constitution as we properly should.
I hate we have to leave it there, but we got to run. I'm sorry, folks. Folks, coming up, Ashley Smith, the angel that dealt with that convict down in Georgia. She'll be with us.
Spends thousands of dollars on materials,
on supplies,
on equipment.
So when I heard about a credit card that gives you up to 5% cash back,
I didn't need a second opinion.
With the Platinum Business Cash Rebate Card from American Express, you can get up to 5% cash back automatically with no limit on how much you can earn. Call 1-800-NOW-OPEN to apply.
Cash back on EKG machines.
Cash back on drywall.
On engines.
On computers.
Even pizza.
There's There's no annual fee and no interest for 6 months. Plus, you'll get the service you deserve from Open, the small business team at American Express.
$640 back. Nice.
The Platinum Business Cash Rebate Card from American Express. Call now for a 60-second decision and start getting up to 5% cash back.
Cash back that goes right back into my pocket.
Since I have type 2 diabetes, I try to do what my doctor says.
But her blood sugar is still too high. I exercise whenever I can, but his number still won't come down.
I try to watch what I eat.
But her blood sugar is still not under control.
Even though you diet, exercise, and take your medicine, managing type 2 diabetes can be hard. Adding Avandia can help. Avandia lowers blood sugar. It works differently than other diabetes medicines by helping your body use its own natural insulin better. And Avandia can help maintain blood sugar control.
Avandia may cause fluid retention or swelling, which can make some heart problems worse or lead to heart failure. Avandia is not right for everyone. Talk to your doctor if you have heart failure or liver problems. Blood tests should be used to check for liver problems before starting and while taking Avandia. Avandia may cause weight gain. It may cause low blood sugar when taken with other diabetes medicines and may increase your risk of pregnancy.
I got my blood sugar under control.
You really did. Could adding Avandia help you?
When it comes to brakes, come to the brake repair experts, Brake Team. Brake Team specializes in brakes, so you'll know it's done right at a great price. So go ahead, put your trust in the team. Come in today for your 4-wheel brake deal. Any make or model vehicle, all 4 wheels, just $99.95. New pads or shoes installed. Resurface the rotors, pack the bearings, bleed the system, and a great warranty.
Put your trust in the team, Brake Team. Put your trust in the team, Brake Team.
NFL Sunday Night Football on ESPN HD. Football like you've never seen it before. From bone-crushing tackles to fingertip catches, Comcast digital cable with high definition is the best way to experience the extremes of the NFL. 100-yard sprints to 1-inch battles. Don't miss any of it with the best seat in the house. Watch Sunday Night Football on ESPN HD, and the best way to get HD is through Comcast digital cable with high definition.
There's an old saying that you can only help people who want to be helped. Well, Undersecretary of State Karen Hughes is testing that theory right now. She's been sent to the Muslim world to reach out to women and help improve America's image. Problem is, she's not getting a very warm reception. This Wednesday in Turkey, she was verbally attacked over the war in Iraq, and this was by a women's rights group. And are we sacrificing American troops and spending huge amounts of money to bring rights to people who don't want them? Ozma Hassan joins us from Los Angeles, author of Why I Am a Muslim, and she is a friend of Heartland. Ozma, you know, what I don't understand is I read in the paper, Muslim women don't want to vote, they don't want to drive, they don't want to go to work. I mean, why?
Well, I don't think that that's especially true. I think when you say Muslim, you have to realize that Muslims live in countries all over the world, and Karen Hughes went to the Middle East. So to tour the entire Muslim world will take a long time for her. She went to Arab countries, visited Arab women, and I think those women, of course, want all the things that will make their life better, just like women in America want things that will make their life better. I think when Karen Hughes came, and I totally admire and praise Karen Hughes for what she did.
Before you go on, before you go on, you're admiring Karen Hughes. Here's the deal. She went to Egypt and Turkey, and in both of those countries, the women stood up and said, "Don't come over here and tell us we need to be more modern. We don't agree with you." I don't understand that. Why do you want to be head to toe in a burqa? Why do you not want to drive? How's the Arab world ever think they're going to get ahead if they cut off all the women and say, you know, you're to be seen and not heard?
Well, I think you have to understand the context in which they were saying those comments. Karen was going on a listening tour. We haven't dialogued with the Muslim world for at least 20 years, maybe even longer. We haven't talked to them. We haven't had any meaningful dialogue. We just did Cold War politics, and then absolutely nothing has come out of the U.S. towards Muslims. So there's naturally going to be a period where Muslims are going to vent out. During this listening tour, part of listening is letting the other party ventilate. So that's what's going on right right now, is we're letting them say, hey, this is the problems we have with your foreign policy, and by the way, we don't need your help. You know, John, if you came to my house and said, I want to know what's wrong with your sister and your brother and what's wrong with your home, I would, of course, defend my home and say everything's fine. I don't need any help. So, they don't want to appear disloyal to their own country and to their culture. But you think they want to have the right to vote? Do you think they want to have the right to have equal rights? I mean, you know, in Pakistan, there have been women that have gone into religious courts. They have been raped, and then the court turns it against them and says, no, you weren't raped. Frankly, you committed adultery, and they take them out and stone them. I mean, why are women inside the Muslim world not saying, you're right? Well, I understand, and I condemn those cases, and I think they're awful. Islam is a religion. The different cultures of the world, including American culture, are patriarchal. It will take a long time for Islam and other religions and other movements to eradicate the patriarchal cultural practices that are found in every culture. I'll give you one example. When the Prophet Muhammad first began receiving the revelations of Islam, female infanticide, the killing of baby girls, was very common in Arabia, and Prophet Muhammad spoke out against it. In fact, one of the first Quranic revelations is condemning the practice of female infanticide. If you look at the Muslim world today, and you can go to Amnesty International or Human Rights Watch, any of their websites, the incident of female infanticide in Muslim countries is almost non-existent. There's maybe one case in the last 10, 20 years in Pakistan, for instance. Go to a neighboring country that is not a Muslim country, like India, and the rate of female infanticide is much higher. So that is one practice where Islam was successful, where we were able to eradicate the practice.
Well, listen,
these other things like stoning, it's going to take us a little time. So give us a chance. Don't give up on us.
I got to tell you, there's a lot of things I very much admire about the Muslims. I would like to see the women helped, and I want them to become more equal, because I think the rise of the Muslim culture is going to depend on including women. Thank you for being with us. Folks, we're going to be back soon to talk to that brave woman who talked the Atlanta shooter into giving himself up. We'll be right back.
Introducing the 300 horsepower Acura RL. With voice-activated technology and super handling all-wheel drive, power can be shifted front to rear, side to side, and while cornering, the outside rear wheel is accelerated for dramatically improved handling in all weather conditions. The all-new Acura RL.
People who get loans shouldn't be taken advantage of. That's why eLoan has consultants who don't make money based on the rate of the loan, offer you low rates, and treat you fairly. Those are just some of the revolutionary ways we're changing the lending industry. eLoan. Radically simple.
All of us have internal plumbing. But for some of us with frequent urges, our pipes just don't work as well as they should. Sometimes you worry you could spring an embarrassing leak. So why deal with it on your own when there's something more you can do? Treat it once daily with Vesicare. Vesicare can reduce urges and may even help relieve bladder leakage. If you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems, do not take Vesicare. While taking Vesicare, if you experience a serious allergic reaction, severe abdominal pain, or become constipated for 3 or more days, tell your doctor right away. Common side effects are dry mouth, constipation, blurred vision, and indigestion. So why wait? Ask your doctor today if Vesicare is right for you. Fewer urges and leaks. With Vesicare, it's not just a pipe dream.
Tonight at 12, he reigned by terror and stands accused of the most heinous crimes against humanity. But will this tyrant be brought to justice?
Once the trial starts, anything can happen.
With eyewitness testimony, unprecedented access, and exclusive interviews, we take you inside one of the biggest trials in history. Plus, what will Saddam's verdict mean for the world's war on terror? Tonight, join host Dan Senor for Fox News Channel's special look at Saddam Hussein on trial.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carol Iavana. Homicide bombers are said to be behind today's terror attacks in Bali. Steve Centani reports from Washington.
The U.S. is condemning a new wave of bomb attacks that hit the scenic island of Bali today. 3 coordinated bomb blasts targeting restaurants crowded with tourists. At least 25 people are dead and 100 injured, including at least 2 Americans. 2 of the bombs went off at Jimbaran Beach, hitting 2 seafood cafes at the height of the dinner hour. The other blast was 18 miles away in Kuta. It exploded on the 2nd floor of a restaurant in a bustling outdoor shopping center. The 3 bombs went off nearly simultaneously, and just about 3 years after terror attacks on Bali nightclubs killed 202 people. Indonesia's president blames today's attacks on terrorists and vows to catch those responsible. There's been no claim of responsibility, but authorities suspect a group called Jemaah Islamiyah, the Indonesian arm of Al-Qaeda. The mostly Hindu island of Bali was just beginning to rebuild its tourist industry after the 2002 attacks, and now after these new bombings, the streets are once again empty and tourists are heading home.
Everybody around here is kind of just shocked, and I mean, you can see the main drag now is completely empty. All the shops and all the bars are all shut because it's unbelievable.
The explosions came a month after Indonesia's president warned of possible terror attacks. A White House spokesman condemned the attacks tonight, saying they were aimed at innocent people taking their evening meal. And a statement from Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice says the United States stands with the people of Indonesia as they work to bring to justice those responsible. In Washington, Steve Santani, Fox News.
Another update for you in about an hour, but first back to Heartland, hosted by John Kasich right here on Fox News Channel. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Heartland. I'm John Kasich. Well, folks, the wicked weather, it's unbelievable, is not over yet. It looks like more big storms are on the horizon. Joe Bastardi, my buddy with AccuWeather, joins us now. All right, Joe, something's cooking out in the Pacific. Tell us about it.
Well, we got Otis out in the Pacific, but that's going to hit the Baja, but we got something cooking for the southern Gulf of Mexico. I didn't know. I'd see if I'm still your buddy a week from today after my Nittany Lions take care of that Ohio State team.
Yeah, you dream on, Joe. Dream on.
You saw what happened today, this afternoon here to Minnesota. Listen, this system in the Western Caribbean is going to cross the Yucatan and become a hurricane in the southern Gulf of Mexico, but it will stay south of Texas. I want to emphasize that. Stay south of Texas. This area northeast of San Juan is going to get into here, and that's going to be a problem perhaps later in the week and perhaps even turn up the eastern seaboard. So we've got a lot of weather going on. Otis is on the other side of Mexico, weakening, heading for the Baja, and what Otis will do is probably add moisture into the weather pattern over the western part of the United States. But there's a lot of scuttlebutt going on now about a Cat 3 hurricane hitting the United States in October. I think you want to ask me some questions on that now, don't you?
Well, hey, Joe, here's the first thing is, have we learned anything from these 2 seasons now? Anything that allows us to predict better? Any useful information gleaned from these last 2 wicked storms?
Well, I personally think anytime you have an experience, you're going to learn from it. But what we've been preaching here is the gospel of volatility, and that we are in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. I keep saying that, and I'm going to show you a graphic here to show you what I mean. In October and November, Category 3 or greater landfalls, since 1965, there have only been 3. Between 1900 and 1964 on the United States coastline, there were 23 landfalls in October and November of Category 3 or greater hurricanes. Now, what does that tell you just by playing the odds?
Well, what about the intensity, though, Joe?
Well, that's what
are the intensities of these hurricanes greater now than they were before?
Well, John, let me put it this way to you. If there was a 50-foot tidal wave or a 50-foot wall of water, a 50-foot wave that went across the Hamptons in New York, and 30 feet of water up Narragansett Bay into Providence, Rhode Island, with 186-mile-an-hour wind gust in Boston, I think we'd all say that that was more intense than some of the... What I'm saying is that happened before. This has happened before. People just don't realize it. I'll tell you what, the East Coast is next, if not maybe not this season, but in the next 5 years, you're going to see the East Coast get slammed by these big storms because we're in that cycle. It's happened before. It's history.
Well, Joe, the next time you're on, we're going to talk to you about global warming, and this is not the night. We don't have the time for it tonight, but I want to get into that discussion with you because we got to look at it honestly. We can't be politicians here. We got to look at it honestly.
Well,
Joe,
exactly
always a pleasure. I may have you next week so you can eat crow after we beat the Nittany Lions.
All
right.
Well,
the victims of Hurricane Katrina are still touching the hearts of folks, Nate, worldwide. Faith-based groups are giving a helping hand in large numbers, so much so that the government is working to reimburse them for their relief efforts. There's no doubt that this is troubling to some civil liberties groups. Joining me now is one of the Heartland's most well-known ministers, Joyce Meyer. Joyce is dedicating $1 million to help the victims of Hurricane Katrina. Joyce, thanks for coming on. Tell us about your organization, how much you've done so far.
Well, we got involved right away because we feel that our job is to always immediately try to help anybody that's hurting. And we sent some trucks with supplies down immediately. So far, we've sent about 18 trucks containing 340 tons of relief supplies. And we're working mainly with some other organizations that actually have the manpower to get in and do work right on site. We're providing a lot of finances, and we're working with Service International from St. Louis Family Church, and also with an organization that is a group of pastors called the PRC Compassion, and they're heavily involved in those areas.
Joyce, is this the face of religion?
Well, I think that it needs to be. You know, we're supposed to be helping hurting people, and the Bible talks about love, and it says that love is not talk and it's not theory, but it's action. And so I'm really pleased to see a lot of the faith-based organizations quickly and willingly and aggressively and seemingly joyfully getting involved in helping other people that are hurting. I think that that's really, you know, what this is all about, and I'm happy to be doing it.
Joyce, a couple things I'd like to cover with you quickly. One is, you know, when you send the stuff down there, people get into this. Look, I'm pro-religion. I'm big on religion. And when you send stuff, isn't it okay? You know, there's, I guess, concern when you say, well, you know, God loves you. You know, people say you're proselytizing and all that stuff. Sort that out for me. I mean, how do you give somebody a bottle of water and a meal and not say, hey, God loves you, when your house has been knocked down, you don't know where the heck some of your family is? How do we work on this?
Well, you know, for an example, we went into a neighborhood. I was actually there on site with a team. We went into a neighborhood that was just absolutely full of debris, and we went in with a team of people with chainsaws and material to help clear these people's yards. And these people didn't know us at all, and we didn't know them, but we just saw they had a mess and wanted to help. Well, they were absolutely amazed. The first thing they say is, well, what's it going to cost? Well, it's not going to cost anything. And you know, we didn't try to proselytize them as far as trying to get them to agree to come over to our way of thinking. We just said, hey, we love you, we're Christians, we came down here to try to help you, we want to do whatever we can for you. And to me, if I just show the love of Christ, I'm doing a lot more than if I'm preaching what sometimes is empty words and showing nothing.
Yeah, do I agree with that. Joyce, you know, it's been fashionable now for ministers to get themselves involved in politics. It really bothers me because I think it disenfranchises some people in the pews. Billy Graham said he dipped his toe in it and realized a long time ago, let's change hearts and let's not make law. Where do you come down on this?
Well, my husband and I feel like this. We're not involved in politics, but we are involved in seeing morality restored in our nation and seeing people understand the value of our godly heritage. And what we try to do is tell people that they need to exercise their right to vote. We tell them that they need to pray because God is really the only one that can solve the problems that we have in America. And we tell them that they need to let their voice be made known. They need to speak up and let their representatives know what they want, don't want, and how they feel about things. Our concern is that people have been too passive, and they don't do anything, and then they complain about what's going on. And for years we've heard, well, I wish they would do this and they would do that. Right. And one day I realized we are they. So well, we have to take action.
You know, you are terrific. I guess my bottom line on this is, look, change hearts, but don't give them the answers. Maybe you can ask them the questions, but what you're doing down there is a lot more powerful than anybody can do with a lot of talk. So God bless you, Joyce. Thanks for your ministry.
Thank you.
Coming up, Kabbalah, Scientology are big in Hollywood. What about Christian faith? Well, we're going to examine it, but next, finally, we're going to get to our hero of Atlanta, Ashley Smith. She'll tell us how her faith helped bring the Atlanta shooter to his knees. Come on back and see this lady. I think she's fantastic.
They have passed this way before. The journeymen and women who make their meeting, who make their mark. We know them well and pay homage with Wi-Fi, with 24-hour markets, with ergonomic 360-degree swiveling desk chairs. We've learned from their legion and remade ourselves in their image. These are the fruits of your labor. Enjoy.
Don't you get it? She has nasal allergies.
He's right.
Pal, only Flonase is approved to treat nasal symptoms from outdoor and indoor allergies, plus year-round environmental offenders. Allegra's approved to treat nasal and non-nasal symptoms from just one. Zyrtec and Claritin are approved to treat nasal and non-nasal symptoms from just two. Only Flonase is approved to treat nasal symptoms from all three. For best results, use daily. Side effects are generally mild and may include headache, nosebleed, or sore throat. Flonase. Ask your doctor.
Hello? This is Mike from Brinks Home Security. Are you all right?
I don't know. The alarm just started going off. Maybe it was the motion detector.
Ma'am, we did not receive a motion signal. We received a fire signal. I've already contacted the fire department.
Honey, we need to get out! The house is on fire! Oh my gosh, there is a fire!
Please get out of the house right away. Can you make it out?
Yes, I think so.
The fire department is on its way.
Can your smoke detector do all of that? Brinks Home Security helps protect you and your family when trouble strikes. The Brinks award-winning monitoring center can provide a quick link to the authorities 24 hours a day. And the Brinks Standard System is a Consumer's Digest Best Buy. Call Brinks now and get a free security system needs analysis, the Brinks Standard System installed for just $99, plus you'll get a monitored smoke heat detector installed free. That's a $115 value. And a Brinks Home Security System in your home could save you up to 20% on your homeowner's insurance. You're never really home alone with Brinks Home Security. Brinks Home Security, dedicated to rapid response and peace of mind 24 hours a day. Call now.
On the morning of March 11th, Brian Nichols caused mayhem in the city of Atlanta, leaving everyone on edge for 24 hours before finally giving himself up. The Atlanta prisoner is accused of grabbing a gun from a courthouse deputy, shooting her, killing a deputy, a court reporter, and a judge before fleeing the courthouse. After fleeing the courthouse, Nichols reportedly carjacked several vehicles, attacked 2 tourists, and allegedly killed a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent. He then took the agent's vehicle and gun and later forced his way into the apartment of Ashley Smith. Miraculously, Ashley, a single mother whose daughter thankfully was with her aunt, was able to cajole Nichols into giving himself up after being held up in her home for 9 hours. Ashley Smith has written a book titled Unlikely Angel. She joins me now from New York to tell her amazing story. All right, Ashley, did you ever stop and wonder, why the heck did this happen to you? Did you ever think about that? I mean, it was, what, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, the guy grabs you, forces... did you ever wonder, why me?
I did wonder that. I still do sometimes, and it's just a miracle. That's the only answer that I've been able to figure out. It was a miracle.
Well, Ashley, do you think now this was a good thing that happened to you or a bad thing? You know, a lot of times people get themselves in a jam. They go, my God, the world's going to come to an end. As you reflect on this, you know, you got the book, you're on every television show known to man now. Was this a good thing that happened?
It was a hard thing for me to figure out, and it still is. I know that something good came out of it. He didn't hurt anybody else. You know, he didn't hurt me and he didn't hurt anybody else, and he turned himself in. And for me, you know, there was a big turning point, and in my book I talk about it. And if this wouldn't have happened, I don't know if my life would have turned around.
All right, what's the big turning point for you? What happened that night?
The big turning point is I had drugs in my apartment that night, and he asked for them, and I gave them to him, and I chose not to do those drugs that night and haven't done them since.
Ashley, you know, this whole business about the drugs and the purpose-driven life, the Rick Warren book, I mean, keeps popping up now. I want you to talk about it a little bit. Tell us, what is the story of the drugs and the prayer, the book? How do they fit together?
Well, for me, after I chose not to do the drugs, it felt like the thing for me to do was to turn back to God. And just to start over. And that's where I completely surrendered. I didn't do them, and I felt that's what I needed to do, was continue on my normal schedule of reading through the book. And that just felt like the right thing to do, so that's what I did.
So what you're telling me is this guy says, I need some drugs. You give him crystal meth, which you no longer have in your apartment and you no longer use.
Right.
And so you go, okay, now I've given you the drugs. I'm not going to take them. But, you know, normally at this hour, I'm going to read a little bit of this book. So you said, I'm going to go get that book and read it to you? Is that how this happened?
Well, I didn't say read it to you. I said, do you mind if I read? And he said, sure, go ahead if you want to. And then he asked if I would read it aloud. And I did read it aloud. So that's how it happened.
Ashley, do you remember what you were reading to him?
It was the chapter 32, the first page of chapter 32 of The Purpose-Driven Life. And it talks about coming out of your comfort zone and God using you for His plan for your life. So that's
pretty wild, isn't it? I mean, here you are, you got this guy who killed a couple people, killed 4 people, I guess, at that point, and here you're reading out of a spiritual book, and it says, get out of your comfort zone.
Right.
I mean, what do you say about that? That's just unbelievable.
It just drives home the point to me that this whole thing was a miracle. It was totally a God thing, in more ways than one. And I read over it the other day, the same part of the book. And for me now, I am out of my comfort zone. You know.
How are you going to keep it together, Ashley? You know what I'm worried about? You got all this attention, right? So the book comes out, you're getting all this attention, you look great, you're reunited with your daughter and everything.
Yes, I am.
Are you worried about, just sort of losing it here? Are you confident of the future? Tell us about that.
I am very confident of the future because I did things my way for a long time, and I never asked for God's help. And now I'm asking for God's help every move I make, day by day, step by step. And that's the way my life is now. And, it's not easy. It is so not easy. I see people that talk on here, and some people doubt me, and they're going to. But you know what? This is my life. And God has given me a purpose for this life, and I plan to live for that purpose of what He's given me now.
And how's your daughter doing?
She's wonderful. She is
your
very
little daughter,
good.
Paige. The most amazing thing of this story is you were going out the door.
Right.
That man who had engaged in so much violence looked at you and said, tell your daughter, Paige, that I said hi, right?
Yes.
Listen, you're really something, and I'm glad you came on Heartland, and I believe in you. Thanks for being with us.
Me.
All right, Ashley. Up next, celebrity and religion. Is there room in Hollywood for all faiths? You'll want to stay around for our Heartland Hero of the Week. That's coming up, too. That one's a good one, and then maybe a little story about something that happened in my family.
This program is brought to you by Cargill. We collaborate, create, and succeed with our customers.
Grocery store customers like to shop where the products are best, especially for beef. Consumers will go out of their way to find a better cut. So to round up more business, smart grocery chains have partnered with Cargill, who supplies stores with a line of top quality beef, hand-selected and specially prepared, so grocers can sell beef so appealing, it'll have more shoppers blazing a trail to their store. This is how Cargill works with customers.
Everyone is cheering for Robots. It's the #1 family DVD.
It's brilliant.
A winner!
Wow.
It's good!
I think that's already been established.
Robin Williams is back. Robots, own the #1 DVD today. Whoops.
The Championnat is setting its mark on the world stage. French League One. This season, witness history as Lyon looks to be the only club in French soccer to win 5 straight titles. The Blues have set the standard. Now, can the rest match them? French League One on Fox Soccer Channel.
Comcast.
Pay-per-view.
The NHL is back. NHL Center Ice is your ticket to get inside the NHL with up to 40 games a week outside your local area. Don't miss the intensity of increased rivalries, great new rules, and no more ties. The shootout is on NHL Center Ice. Order by October 31st and get NHL Center Ice for $129.
Don't wait. Bring your team home now and order all the action on In Demand. Call today.
TNC Dodge. It's the full line closeout. Why buy a TNC Dodge? Here are 5 reasons. 1, every Dodge is on sale. 2, the largest inventory of 05s in the Portland Metro. 3, employee pricing plus, and you get the rebates. 4, rebates and bonus cash as high as $4,500. 5, you get free lifetime tires. Take advantage of employee pricing plus and lifetime tires while it lasts. We are Town and Country Dodge in Wilsonville. Drive home happy.
Search through hundreds of thousands of used cars across the U.S. or within a few miles. Online at vx.com. Just click Auto on Comcast.net.
Want a better job? Ready to make a move? Start your search for a better local job right now at PortlandJobFinder.com. That's where you'll find local employers that are searching for your talent, skills, and experience. PortlandJobFinder.com is easy to use and totally free for job seekers. Log on now to view hundreds of detailed job listings, upload your resume, and find a better job today. PortlandJobFinder.com. It's free for job seekers and good for business.
God, I love that snappy music. Welcome back. Maybe it's the sun out there, but it seems like more Hollywood celebrities are embracing alternative faiths and in the process marginalizing traditional ones. You got Madonna espousing the virtues of Kabbalah, and Tom Cruise representing Scientology, while a Christian like Mel Gibson is practically run out of town for making a film about Jesus. It sounds crazy to me, but these people have a lot of influence on our culture. Are they helping to spread these movements? James Hurston thinks so. He's the author of Hollywood Nation and a magazine cover story called Hollywood Gods. Also joining us is Hollywood journalist, long-time Hollywood watcher, Jeannie Wolf. All right, Jim, you've been on before. Why do we care what they're doing? What influence do they have? I mean, why should we care out here in the middle of the country?
John, they have profound influence, both when celebrities act and speak, because otherwise Catherine Zeta-Jones wouldn't be able to sell cell phones, and we wouldn't have corporate America lining up to sign them as spokespeople. Also, they have influence in the content of their work. We see study after study showing that, in fact, young people in particular are influenced by television, movies, and music. And we know that corporate America thinks so because in films they place products in there and pay big bucks for what's called product placement ever since the E.T. ate the Reese's Pieces in the 1980s. So there's tremendous influence. And, we see the unseemly situation now where it used to be where celebrities would repeat what they heard from news media and politicians, but today we see politicians repeating what celebrities say and news media repeating what celebrities say.
Jeannie, why are these folks coming up with all, you got, I don't even know what Kabbalah, I was talking to one of our producers, he says that's some, mysticism that the rabbis they just don't think too much of it. You got Steven Seagal is some, Buddhist, and Richard Gere, and you got all these things floating around. Why are they into these new things now? What's wrong with the old-fashioned religion?
Well, I think there would be people who would argue that Buddhism and Kabbalah are very old-fashioned religions indeed. It's always been the
but not as sort of an American, and it's not a U.S. thing. I mean, I understand Buddhism's been around for a long time, but not that much here in the United States.
I think what you're seeing is people all over the world exploring the fact that there isn't really a moral compass right now. They feel empty, they feel confused by failure, they feel confused by success, and they're looking for answers. And if celebrities do have the influence that you all believe they have, I think it's quite fantastic to hear a star explore spirituality, check on their inner life, explore different ways of finding powers above, rather than what lipstick should we wear, or should our blue jeans be low enough to show our belly button.
Yeah, Jeannie, that might be true. The only problem is they ran Mel Gibson out of town. I mean, he couldn't
Nobody
get
ran Mel Gibson out of town.
He couldn't get the film financed. And, everybody said this guy's put his career in jeopardy because he dared be a Christian. I mean, that's true.
People said that Mel Gibson dared to talk about...
Go ahead.
All right, people said Mel Gibson dared to talk about and take a stand on a rather extreme form of religion. And stars and politicians...
Let me in here, John. That's it, yeah, so what Jeannie has done is basically underscore something, that in Hollywood, some faiths are more equal than others. Traditional faiths and Orthodox faiths have been sport in
Jim,
Hollywood.
I just got to say,
Please don't speak for me in that regard.
This defines it. When Mel Gibson makes a movie about the life of Jesus and we call that extremist religion, I mean, that in a way does define.
All right, now wait a minute.
You know
let me back up a little bit. Mel Gibson...
I'm going to get to you. But Jim, I get a sense these people don't like to get on their hands and knees and really worship up. I get a sense that they think they're sort of the center of the universe. All rich people, powerful, successful people have this tendency.
I interviewed a bunch of people on this subject for the cover story and for my book, producers, directors, people who are insiders, and they admit that Hollywood is a place that's overly obsessed with self. And traditional religions make people focus on other than themselves, and sometimes they don't let people feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
And so these new religions...
because there's a little bit of self-analysis. Jeannie, you get the last word because we're almost out of time.
I feel a little bit ganged up upon. When I talked about Mel Gibson, it was his interpretation of the life and death of Christ. And he did awaken a complete awareness of people's questioning about religion, need for religion, and also Hollywood's daring to talk about its beliefs, and you guys are scared of that.
Good point, Jeannie. Good point. Didn't mean to gang up on you. Thanks for coming up. I want to get your next column, though. James, Jeannie, thank you. Up next, Heartland Hero, the pick of the week.
No matter how big your son gets, no matter how strong he gets, no matter how smart he gets, keep talking to him about not smoking. Because a part of him will always listen to his mom. Talk to your kids about not smoking. They'll listen. For conversation starters, log on to philipmorrisusa.com.
Hey, Bob here with pro beach volleyball player Holly McPeak, who's trying Quizno's new Cabo chicken sub. With deli sliced chicken, bacon, and cheddar, all topped with a mild chipotle mayo and fresh guacamole.
This is great, Bob.
Well, you can have another. Now, one condition. This is so much better than the front row.
The new Cabo Chicken Sub, just $2.99, only at Quizno's.
Wow, just $2.99?
Quizno's. Toasty.
Wait, did you see that? Go back. Clearly, that woman is trying to get more fiber and calcium in her diet. Now, it's so much easier with new Metamucil capsules plus calcium. Metamucil fiber for regularity, plus as much calcium as an 8-ounce glass of milk for strong bones to help prevent osteoporosis. Metamucil capsules plus calcium. Stay regular, stay strong.
Soto and Partners.
McPhee and Associates.
This is Al.
King Brokers.
Hello.
Hi.
Now with free incoming plans from Sprint Business, it's easier to say yes when customers call. And with our buy one, get one free deal, you and your company can say yes. Sprint Business gives you free incoming calls from all phones, all networks, all the time. So you can make just about any place a workplace. Call 888-863-9835 or visit a Sprint or Nextel store today. Sprint Business. Yes, you can.
Tonight at 12, he reigned by terror and stands accused of the most heinous crimes against humanity. But will this tyrant be brought to justice?
Once the trial starts, anything can happen.
With eyewitness testimony, unprecedented access, and exclusive interviews, we take you inside one of the biggest trials in history. Plus, what will Saddam's verdict mean for the world's war on terror? Tonight, join host Dan Senor for Fox News Channel's special look at Saddam Hussein on trial.
Time now for the Heartland Hero of the Week. Tracy Velasquez is leading an effort to redirect $4 million federal dollars to build a parking garage in Bozeman, Montana, to help the hurricane victims. The federal government says this can't be done. You know what, folks? That's what's wrong with Washington. More debt for our kids? No common sense. Keep pushing, Tracy. Maybe someday someone in Washington will listen and care. You're our Heartland Hero. Folks, just a little quick story. One of my daughters told my wife,